Hello everybody. I thought I would do a quick video tonight of things to look out for when buying a caravan. Now we've just bought our first caravan and it wasn't a quick process, and we did a lot of research beforehand of what to actually find in a caravan, what to look out for, and I wanted to do a video that incorporated all that information in one place so it was easier for somebody who was potentially going out to buy their first caravan. So the first thing that I would like to stress is that it's not particularly a great idea to go out and buy the first caravan that you see. And this is very difficult. It's easier said than done. When you go and look at your first caravan, you'll be extremely excited. And usually when that happens, you start to look at whatever you're seeing with rose-tinted glasses, and everything sort of runs away with yourself and you don't check things that you should check. And that's what I want to do, is sort of a checklist of things to actually do. So the number one sort of enemy of the caravan is damp. Now damp can be very, very hard to put right if it's actually set into a caravan. So if all of the wood and the walls have started to get damp and started to rot, that's when it's going to be costly and difficult to actually fix out for. And the issue with caravans and damp is the fact that they're bonded together. So where the side meets the roof and the front, they have sealing strips which are made from a mastic sealant, which never really goes off. It's meant to remain sticky. Obviously, over time, this does actually harden, and when it hardens, it becomes less flexible, and cracks can be sort of formed in there, and it allows the rain to actually penetrate through the seal and come into the caravan. Another sort of easy way to get damp into a caravan is if it's had a bump at some point and one of the seals has been broken or damaged, so that is letting water in. Now, the way to look for damp is to basically check everywhere inside and out. So the first thing I do when looking at a caravan is look down the side of the caravan, and I make sure that there's no bulging in any of the outside walls and that all of the aluminium looks straight. There will be a few dents and there'll be a few scratches if it's an older caravan, but you want to make sure ideally that the wall is level and isn't bulging or doesn't look like it's damaged in any way. Um, the next thing to do then is to start looking inside the caravan, under the lockers, the front lockers. So in the where the beds are, make sure you lift that up and check all across the bottom where the side joins the floor, and make sure that you prod. Don't be, you're going to go spend effectively, upwards of £2,000 maybe on a caravan. You don't want to buy something that's going to be a lemon. So make sure that you check underneath all the beds. Make sure you check all the sides. I like to have a good walk up and down the caravan to make sure that the floor's not spongy. Another issue with caravans is delamination of the floor. Because it's made out of ply board, the actual layers of ply can come unstuck from each other, which creates a spongy feeling and creates quite a lot of creaks as you walk up and down the caravan. It's fairly simple to rectify, but again, there'll be caravans out there that haven't got that problem. So if you see one that has, it may be worth putting it onto a maybe list and going back to that one if you don't see anything better. Now, going back to damp, the reason I say look down the sides for any bulges is simply because the delamination that happens to the floor also can happen to the sides of the caravans. So a caravan side normally is made up from a very thin layer of aluminium, which is bonded with glue to a layer of polystyrene insulation. On the inside of the caravan then there is a layer usually of 3mm ply that's bonded to that, so it's a sandwich of three materials. Now when wet gets between the aluminium and the foam, it actually makes the adhesive come unstuck, which gives a bulging effect to the outside of the caravan, and it is a telltale sign of either damp getting in there, or sometimes the actual adhesive can just degrade with the age of the caravan and cause delamination. It is a very hard problem to fix. There's not many people who can work with aluminium, especially with caravans, and do a nice job on it, simply because you usually have to replace the whole side of the caravan if there is any problems with it. So it's costly. It's probably one of those things that it'd be a write-off. It just would not be worth the actual cost of the repair to actually fix the caravan with problems like that. So damp is something that you should not take lightly. You need to go in there and check everything. I check underneath kitchen cupboards. I get inside any compartments that I can. With our caravan, I had all of the drawers out. I had all of the cupboards open, and I was going knocking and feeling for any spongy feeling of the wood. Also check inside the toilet cassette. So the toilet cassette door, make sure you open that up and check below where the caravan floor is, because they do have a tendency to leak in through that door and it can rot out all of the bottom section of the toilet. Again, it's not a difficult problem to fix, but it depends. Do you actually want to be buying a caravan to start repairing it? Plus, if there is a problem with it and it's something that you think you can tackle, it's a bartering point to try and get price off that caravan. So always make sure that you keep a list as well of things that you find, defects you find that are wrong with the caravan. So check for damp, check, double check. If you can get a damp tester. They're around about £15 online. Take that with you. Find someone who's got one that you can take with you. I cannot stress that enough, just to be sure that you haven't got damp in your caravan. So the next thing to look out for is the electrics and making sure that everything works. And I have a saying that if there's a knob, turn it. If there's a button, press it. You are there to buy this caravan and make sure that everything is working. And so you should be going around and testing every single appliance that you can. That is lights. We're talking about sockets for the mains. We're talking about extractor fans. Um, the toilet, if it's got electronic flush, try that. The water pump, if you can get some water and try the water pump, do that. Um, Also, the gas system as well. If you can take a lighter with you or some sort of a spark generator, and there is gas in the caravan, check the hobs, check the oven, check the grill. These are all things that will cause you problems and will cost you money to get repaired. The most important things that I usually check when I go and look for a caravan is the heater. I also check the hot water as well, the Carver hot water unit. Now, especially for older caravans, they will have Carver hot water units in, and these aren't made anymore. There are spares for them. You can get spares for them. There's also, I believe, a person on eBay who repairs them for around about £70, replaces all the parts in the burners to get them working again. It's costly, so make sure that it's working, make sure that you can test it, and just ask the seller, can I get a gas bottle attached to this? Even if you want to bring your own gas bottle, if they haven't got one, ask them if you can go back and have a look with a gas bottle and try it. Check the battery. The chances are, if it's in sort of a private sale, that the battery will be flat, because a lot of people don't keep their caravan, or leisure battery, should I say, charged. If the leisure battery has gone flat at any point, it will need replacing. Leisure batteries don't like going flat, and as soon as they do, if they're completely pancaked, the chances are that it will never actually charge to its full potential again. So if you were thinking of going off grid and just using your battery, you'd probably end up buying a new battery, so that's another cost. The next thing I check then is all the beds, to make sure that all of the beds fold down correctly, that all of the slats are present on the front bed, and that the bunk beds go up correctly as well. And make sure that you've also got the mattress for the bunk beds, and that the table that goes down on the single bed and the side dinettes, make sure that's got all of its fixings, that all of them are solid and none of the runners have split where the table actually lays down. It's important, again, these things can be fixed for relatively cheap, but it gives you, again, that leverage as the buyer to say, here's a list of things that are wrong with it and how much can you knock off, or think in your mind how much you think it's going to cost to repair it, or go away and get that sort of idea and then go back to the seller with an offer. The other thing to check then is got to be the water system. So if you can take a water butt with you, or if the seller's got running water on the site, check that all the taps work and all the micro switches work, especially with the newer taps, because the micro switches aren't as accessible as with the older the whale taps, which have the micro switches that are just accessible from underneath. So check it as much as you can. Again, it's only the same as you do with a test drive of a car. You'd go down the road, you'd make sure it goes into all the gears, you'd check all the bells and whistles on the car. Do the same for the caravan. The other thing is the fridge. So check the fridge on both the gas and also the electric side if you can. Some fridges also have a 12-volt system on there that makes the fridge work when you've got the car plugged in to the electrics. See if you can do that. Ask the seller, can I plug my car in? Make sure all the lights work. You are going to have to make sure that's all okay before you tow it away anyway. So it makes sense to do that. Also check the charging system as well, because the battery charger usually works, or the the battery gets charged usually off your car's alternator while you're towing. So you can make sure that all of that works as well. It is just a case of going through these different items and making sure that everything in the caravan is okay. The last thing you want to do is buy the caravan, get it back, start checking all these things, and then finding that loads of things have broken and that you've paid top price for the caravan as well. In most cases, you're probably going to get a caravan that has a few faults. The one that we bought, for instance, had a number of faults, and I managed to get £500 off the list price for it. So it had a fault with the hot water heater not working properly. It had a fault with the heater, the blown air side, not working properly, which there's a repair video that I've put on there. And then the other couple of little problems were a micro switch on one of the taps, and at some point somebody had ripped the mounting for the bunk out of the back seat. Now, I will do a video on that. It was a very simple fix, but again, it's something that you can go to the seller with and say, this isn't right, and you know, they will most likely knock some money off for that. So just to recap, as we're coming to the end of this video now, the number one thing to check for is damp. If your caravan is dry, then it's usually a good start. It's a damn good start if you've got a dry caravan. Everything else inside then is replaceable easily by anybody really. Anyone who can wield a spanner and a screwdriver could replace things in the caravan. So damp is the first thing to check for. Second thing to check for, electrics, water and gas. Again, remember what I said. If there's a knob, turn it. If there's a button, press it, and make sure that it does what it's meant to do. And the final thing then is just an overall sort of condition. Have a look round, make sure that all of the cupboards are okay. Make sure we've got no splits in any of the wood or anything like that. It's just a general look around at for instance, the seats. Make sure the seats aren't completely threadbare and worn out, and that they're comfortable to sit on. You know, get yourself comfy on the sofa. We always do that. Have a sit down in the front seats and make sure that they aren't completely worn out. So that is basically a nice guide to buying a caravan. There is many other things that we can check. They are the general things. They're what we went to. Our caravan is now ready to go on holiday. We've got another few days and then we will be going out, so our caravan is ready. That's what we used. I hope it's going to be useful to somebody. Please, if you've liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you in the future. Many thanks. Bye bye.